Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince.
Who's in the mood to party?
We got Chris.
I'm a secret robot. Beep, boop, beep.
And I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. Today we are talking about Batman Endgame, because they just made a movie of this. It just came out, right?
Endgame. There's going to be a lot of Endgame spoilers here.
So we thought we would do I think we get the wrong one. Wait. This is DC. We've been robbed. Okay.
No, we did
Batman Endgame.
We did Batman Forever last time. We've made
Did
this
we
joke.
really?
Yes.
No, I don't. You could. I seem to have no memory of what we've done in the past. You could tell me we did anything last time, and I would believe you. Anyways, this time we are definitely doing Batman Endgame. This was around 2014, 2015 for the 75th anniversary of Batman. This is one of the more recent books we've covered here. But took place in Batman issues 35 through 40 from the most recent run, written by Scott Snyder and art by Greg Capullo. And definitely there's a lot of sort of status quo things. You always need to know who Batman's hanging out with right now. Vince, can you kind of fill us in on what Snyder did, for the first 34 issues?
Yes. So we can even start a little farther back. DC rebooted its line in 2011 with what was called the New 52, where they had 52 books all restarting at number 1. And then the Batman run basically had a kind of a clean slate. Some other books, they started from scratch, like let's say Swamp Thing, Animal Man kind of rebooted entirely. Batman had pretty much no real reboot. And for the first 12 issues, there was a big story called The Court of Owls, which was kind of like an Illuminati story of Batman for Gotham, the Illuminati of Gotham. The Court of Owls will come in here. And then there was a big story called Death of the Family, which had Batman facing the Joker in a big story. Sideways in Detective Comics #1 from 2011, the Joker cut off his face in a book that I didn't read by Tony Daniel, because I read bad things and I was like, I'm not going to deal with this. Scott Snyder was a writer I trusted because I really liked his American Vampire book at the time. And he'd also done a run on Detective Comics with Jock right before the New 52 started. So the Joker, he lost, I guess, in probably Batman 18, and then was out of all of DC Comics for close to 2 years. So he wasn't seen again. So this was his big return to the DC universe. And then the Batman run had this thing called 0 Year, which was kind of like year one, another like first year of Batman. And I frankly didn't like it. I thought it was kind of a major tailspin in Snyder's run, which I'd really liked up to that point. I didn't like 0 Year, and Endgame kind of brought me back.
Okay, cool.
So here we are.
So you've read this before?
Yeah, I read all of the Snyder run through Endgame, and then what happens after this, and then I got bored and actually didn't even finish the last. I didn't even finish the last trade before they relaunched Batman again with the Rebirth, which was in 2016.
Right. Chris, had you read any of these at all?
No, I have not.
Yeah, neither have I. I don't think I've read anything by Scott Snyder. Doesn't he also do movies?
No, that's Zack Snyder.
So.
That's he is very
Snyder.
Involved. He did direct a Batman movie. No, Scott Snyder also did American Vampire, which was Stephen King with Stephen King, if you remember that from about maybe even like 10 years ago now. And then he also did a really good run on Swamp Thing with the New 52. The one I always, Kia, I don't even know if I talk about this on the show, but he did him and Jeff Lemire, who was doing Animal Man, they ended up having a major crossover about 12 issues in.
You told me about that, I think, in person at some point. I don't think we've talked about it on the show. That might be something fun to cover at some point.
I did read that, and I read what he was doing Detective Comics before New 52.
Yeah, he did it with Jock,
and I read that
when Dick Grayson was Batman.
Yeah, I read that.
Great. So let's get right into Batman Endgame here. Like I said, this takes place over Batman number 35 through 40. And pretty much the whole first issue is just Batman fighting the Justice League. They're all coming at him. I don't know if we need to set anything else up here, because Batman's just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some of Snyder's like kind of I'm trying to come up with the word, but basically his his ticks and like what he likes to do, his kind of flourishes. So he has it starts with a brief story of like about Gotham rebuilding with a new theater and new and like the Deus Ex Machina of this new theater and injections and how like philanthropy has gone through Gotham City, which is what Snyder really likes to do, is talk about like Gotham in the 1800s and how it informed Gotham City today. Like and I mean, this is part of like based in his like Illuminati writing, but also just he's really into the idea of like how a city came to be. So that runs through all of Snyder's run, and he has other like Gotham side stories and like side books that all like kind of explore the same concept. And then someone faked a gas attack in Gotham to like clear an area, but why? And so Batman's been dosed with the fear toxin, so he's starting to have some weird visions. And we're introduced to Julia, who's Alfred's daughter, who, Chris, you said you've actually seen before. I didn't know. I thought she was new to this book.
Yeah, she actually was introduced, and I think in the early '80s, she was a like French like Interpol agent type person who then finds out she went by the name Julia Remarque, and then found out she was the daughter of Alfred, Pennyworth.
That sounds like an 80s comic to me.
Of course she's a damn spy. All right.
Yeah, and then she moved to Gotham. She kind of had a crush on Batman, but then I think she found out she was bisexual, if I'm remembering correctly.
All right.
That doesn't preclude her from having
That's a spin on it.
Yeah. But basically, yeah, she was basically had she got into journalism and was sort of a Vicky Vale supporting character, which I think is about where I am in like 1987. She is not a character that they do a whole lot with, but I was like, oh, they bring her back. She's not a character you ever see in like TV shows or anything else.
Yeah.
So like, unless you read the comics from the 80s, you would not know who this character is.
I just like that they call her Penny 2. I think that's a good nickname for her.
Mm-hmm. I like it
Penny
too.
2. Yep.
Yeah, Batman's got a whole like supporting team. Like the Death of the Family story also explores this. I mean, he's got and the backup story we read in Detective Comics 1000 also explores this. Like he's got a lot of like tech support people between Oracle and Duke and Penny 2 and Alfred, and he's got all the heroes between all the Robins and Nightwing, and so that this is kind of explored through this story as well. But Batman's talking about, or Bruce Wayne's talking with Alfred about building like a bat monorail and like rejuvenating the city. And then out of nowhere, Wonder Woman attacks Batman, or Bruce Wayne's more specifically.
Yeah. Let's get going. The whole Justice League is all up in his business, and they are acting like, no, we got to take you down. And it's a fun kind of fight thing where, of course, they all attack him one by one, and we see all the different ways that he's able to beat them. I remember the Flash one being kind of clever. Maybe not. What was that?
He was ready. He'd built something that was going to be faster than fast or something. And so I'm like, well, who's he going after? It's probably Superman. And then I forgot about it. It was the Flash. But he shoots like a really quick homing dart to knock him out of the air.
Faster than the Flash?
Yeah.
Wow, good homing dart. That's a good homing dart.
He gets Aquaman covered in like some fast hardening goop. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And then he fights Superman, but it's a really cool ending to this issue because so he's fought all of them, and then Superman just starts having like a Joker grin, and then starts laughing like the Joker, and we're like, oh, like this is not like a dream, or just like, well, you assumed like maybe the Justice League is going to attack Batman because reasons, because Batman's a shithead to them a lot of the time, so that makes sense that might be the reason. But I'm like, oh, it's the Joker doing something to the Justice League. This is intriguing.
Yeah, I really kind of wanted to see how the Joker got to them. I feel like that was a very interesting part of the story that we just weren't told, but that's okay.
Yeah, you are told in the next issue, but
we are?
Yeah,
I feel like I completely missed it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me what happened then. We're on to the next issue.
Yeah, in the next issue, after the fight's over, they're like, there was like a Gotham like hospital opening where all of the Justice League would have all been together, and Batman actually goes to that hospital. And then that's when Commissioner Gordon is like, some people say that hospital is haunted. And then he's looking at it and he's like, what the hell is going on with this hospital? Because there's backup stories in this issue. Who it's actually not written by Scott Snyder, but I actually really like these backups.
James Tynion the Fourth wrote all of those. He's a frequent collaborator with him.
Yeah, written by James Tynion and art by Kelly Jones, who is, I think, well suited to not be doing like traditional superhero stories here, because Kelly Jones is sort of a more, I don't know, like he's doing more, weird art.
He did the one with the Bat Dog in Detective Comics 1000. Right?
Yes.
The Jeff Johns story that we were like, what is this nonsense?
Yes, he had a run on Batman in the, I think, early 90s that was very surreal, and as a child I was like, I hate this. Because it doesn't look like the things it should look like. But I really like this sort of subplot that you've got this Arkham Asylum doctor who's got these five inmates who don't have anything in common except they all have run-ins with the Joker, and they all have 5 different origin stories with the Joker. And so they're all going to tell their story of like what the Joker told them his origin was. And so as the stories go, and it really doesn't matter. We don't have to go into like super detail about what their origin, what the Joker says his origin is to each of them, and like the doctor tells them like that doesn't even make sense. Like he's just giving you, something that feeds your delusions, but it pays off.
Yeah. And if you wanna read those backups, they're not in the actual trade for Batman Endgame, which was Batman Volume 7. Yes, Endgame. Which
always feels weird to me to call this Batman Volume 7.
Yeah.
That's just not true at all.
Well, it's the 7th of Snyder's run, which, if you call Batman by Snyder Volume 7, I'd be like, totally cool. But they also released a weird thing, pretty much, I think, like the exact same day at Barnes & Noble, called The Joker Endgame, which is the exact same issues as this, 35 through 40, but it includes the backups and a few more annuals to help flesh out the story and some of the tie-in books.
Yeah, I saw there was like Batgirl Endgame and like some other. Yeah, there was like I think was it Red Robin, or there's some other like side character had like a one-off.
But so if you wanted to read all those backups and still have all of these same issues, you can always check it out on DC Universe. But you could look for Joker Endgame, not Batman Endgame. It's very confusing because the way they collected these, like Death of the Family had all the Batman stories in one, and then everybody else's stories in a different trade. So it was very so they were like clearly delineated. Like if you don't want the backup stories, like not even backup stories, like Batgirl stories and Robin books and Nightwing, those were in one trade, and then these were in the Batman trade. So it's very confusing on how they collected stuff this time.
Great. Yeah. I only read the main 6 issues, so I don't know what else is going on.
This was in the main issue.
I know.
And those are in the main issues, but not in the Batman trade for some reason. So like when I was reading it on DC Universe, like what is this? I've never read this. But Tynion the Fourth is a good writer. He wrote the spin-off of some of the spin-offs of this with Snyder. So.
Yeah,
great.
So, but I
feel like. I definitely could have used just a little bit more in this world. I didn't feel like I was ever given much of a reason to care, like this was anything special. It wasn't until you told me that this was a 35th anniversary thing when we got on today that I was like, oh, really? It just felt like kind of another story for the most part. I don't know. If I had been everything else leading up to it, yeah.
So did you not read these backups, Kia?
No, I didn't. So all I saw, I think I just had the trade version. No backups included.
Yeah, they didn't have all those stories. And they weren't all art by Kelly Jones. I don't think the back ones were, but
no.
But
they were still good.
Yeah. The other thing is, so this is a weird one for us because this is the culmination of Snyder's run.
Right.
So you guys are jumping in like right at the end of it, and also I think that this book worked better month to month with a lot of like internet speculation. Because the big story of this is they were trying to like start fucking with people like, is the Joker immortal?
Right. And you get this, and it's a fun little, like, it's in part 2 and part 3.
Yeah,
but,
I like those bits. They were intriguing.
And it's in all the backups, but you never, at least I never really was like, but is he? It's like, no. The answer is no.
Yeah, the ultimate answer, like, and we're getting right to the end, but yeah, the ultimate answer is no. But I think if the book had had like time to breathe, where you're just reading one issue a month, which is what I was doing at the time, like that speculation of like, are they actually doing this with the Joker, and reading all like the like news articles around it and the promotion around it, like this may be what they're doing with the Joker, which I was like on board for. Like, are they actually going to do it month to month? Like letting it breathe as opposed to just reading it all in a week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But even then, like, I feel like as a cynical guy who's read a lot of comics, I wouldn't have been fooled by this. I'd be like, no, he has found something that has, given him powers.
Yeah, I think we need to like stick to the plot for a second and then get back to this later.
But
sorry to cut it off. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, finish, Chris.
But yeah, I mean, like, he has tricked the Justice League. He's got Joker toxin here in the first 2 issues, and so Batman has to fight the Justice League.
I really like this Superman Joker design. By the way, I think it's really fun making him
I think all the art in this book is really fantastic. There are some moments where you've just got close-ups of Batman's face with a cowl and everything, and it looks so like flat and animated in such a great way. The Joker is so well detailed. Everything is just really perfectly detailed. I am kind of in love with the art of this book.
Yeah, I really like the art. Sometimes the coloring, though, I don't like.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It gets a little sloppy sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's just the digital coloring gets a little washed out. Like, I don't know. But Capullo's art is so good that it's just like, it's really good.
Yeah, and this design on the Joker, too, which is like very, very reminiscent of Jared Leto in the movies, which I always kind of like it when the comics start imitating the movies and let their character models change a little bit. I know a lot of people hate that, but I'm into it.
As long as he's not got damaged written on his forehead, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's the line.
I love these fights, though. Like, who wins in a fight? The answer is always the same. Neither of us.
Oh, yeah. I like that line. I think, I did like this book more than I'm saying I did.
I think this is the high point, or one of the high points. I really like I mean, because the Superman's got this, like, super pale white face with, like, a bloody grin, and he's like, and it's that thing of, like, Superman's not holding back. What if Superman didn't hold back? Which is, super fun. And then it's got a really great plot device of Batman, of course, defeats Superman. And, well, the Justice League's going to need a week to get all the toxin out of them. So the Justice League's off the table. I'm like, cool.
Yeah,
this explains why, if this is Joker's, like, worst thing he's ever done, why the Justice League can't help. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect plot.
So Batman heads to Arkham to talk to some, like, Arkham. So Arkham has collapsed now? Is that what's going on?
It says Arkham Asylum after the collapse. I can't tell you if I remember that, but
all right, so Arkham Asylum's gone. He's talking to some doctor who's hanging out there for some reason.
So what happened in this, and I didn't realize until I was double checking. So the Joker was defeated, and then he wasn't in the comics for 2 years. But literally, the issue after Joker was defeated, this doctor Eric Bolder showed up. Like, so Eric Bolder, like, Batman was like consulting him on cases.
Eric Border, by the way.
Eric Border. I'm sorry. Because it's an anagram of something, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm not into
some Adam West bullshit.
I am not into the wordplay here. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that also the Joker like posed as some like fancy gentleman that helped out Batman in Morrison's run. I'm pretty sure that also happened. So no idea is new, but like Eric Border was around for the last 2 years of Batman comics.
Yeah,
but
Batman's good. Surprise, surprise! Eric Border is the Joker.
Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is the Joker. Eric Border is
I remember now. Border meant like jester or something like that. Is that why?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Great. Congratulations.
And yes, A means eternal, and Rex means Gothic for prince, and you're like, shut up.
I should have seen it all along.
It's like, what are you even talking about?
Low key, Kia, that was a really good Adam West impression.
Oh, thank you. All right. So what else happens? Batman. So the joke. Here's what I didn't understand. Joker locks up Batman. This is like his endgame. He's planning on killing him, but he doesn't. It's just like a bang thing, and he lets Batman go. Like, what is this? What is this?
I mean, he basically is like, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna like pull your pants down and make everyone laugh at you.
That's like the worst Joker. This is not. How is this the Joker's endgame? That he's not going to kill him yet.
He's got 4 more issues.
All right.
For this endgame, and also the fly on Batman's eye is a really cool image.
What is that? Like where that? It was just a fly hanging out.
Well, he looked like he trapped him, and then like a fly just landed on Batman's eye, like real close up.
Okay,
it's cool.
I do like as incredibly stupid, and I didn't read them, so I'm only going off, it's everything's stupid when you're just reading the plot synopsis of it. Mm-hmm. As incredibly stupid and try hard as the Joker takes his face off story point is, it is a very cool visual of Joker using his own face as a tragedy mask.
Yeah, that is.
Like that
keeps it around as a prop.
I'm like, that is commitment to your brand.
Mm-hmm. Joker knows what's up. So what's going on in the next issue here? Batman is now like all onto the Joker's case. Joker gets a hold of Commissioner Gordon.
Well, Batman was trapped. While Batman was trapped, Joker released a laughing gas to all of Gotham.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we don't even really see Batman escape. He's just like suddenly like back at home with Alfred and Penny too. But now we're like, oh well, shit. He released this toxin and it's like bad and like it can't be cured and all that kind of stuff. Which now sounds like a drunk history thing, but
Is Jim Gordon commissioner right now, or is he something else? Okay.
But he's younger than I mean, I think he's probably even younger than he was in Detective Comics 37 when we first saw it.
We also in this issue get a weird. I'm not sure what he was trying to do with this because he sets up there's a kid named Duke who his parents are just coming out of the opera or the theater as well, and they're getting shot down by somebody who's affected by the Joker's laughing gas, and like Batman saves his kid, and it's like he's reliving his origin story, and I was not really sure where he was going with this because it didn't really the story kind of forgot about this Duke kid after a little while, right?
Yeah, Duke I meant to look this up after we talked about this with Detective Comics 1000. Duke figures into this somehow. He ends up being another superhero.
All right, great. We don't have to dwell on it then. So what else happens? We get a lot of just sort of like imagery that reminds us of the Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed.
Mm-hmm. Everybody in Gotham's a Joker zombie. Batman decides he needs to go to Gotham Presbyterian to find Patient Zero because that'll help him develop an antibody. And of course, good Snyder thing is Gordon starts talking about ghost stories for Gotham Presbyterian, about fires and roof collapse of 1910. And so, I really like that kind of like lived-in thing that he wanted to do for Gotham City.
Right.
I like Jim Gordon with an axe coming at Batman.
That was a cool. There's some cool imagery in this one with that fight that he has with the Joker in his home. Is really cool. There's some really creepy like zombie imagery almost with Joker, and then Jim Gordon defeats the Joker, and he's like, it's done. And this actually worked really well in the panel by panel on the phone. It's like Jim Gordon's like, I'm totally cool, and then suddenly like the Joker's just like rising out of the flames. Yeah, it's a really cool double image. And then a lot of this, there's a lot of like kind of fighting through Gotham to get to his next, whatever Batman needs to do, and just some like a very like Warzone-esque kind of look to it, like kids in tanks and that kind of stuff.
But so Batman's goal is to go after the scientist that helped the Joker make his latest toxin, because this is something we kind of skipped over. Alfred and Penny too. They're like running it through all the databases or whatever, and like, oh, we can't find a cure for this toxin. It doesn't match any of the other strains that are on file. What's going on here? And so this is kind of now starting to get back to what we were talking about at the beginning with the Joker maybe being immortal.
That was in here.
Yeah, because the scientist, when Batman finally gets to him, says, hey, all right, we've got the Joker. He came to me and he gave me some of his blood because it has
Dionysium.
What was it?
Dionysium.
Dionysium.
Dionysus was the Greek god of fertility and wine.
Right. But look, what do they call him in this? They call him the god of something else that I don't usually associate with Dionysus.
Yeah. He's associated with rebirth. I guess because of his. Something about he does have some rebirth myth associated with him. But he's
I've heard cool people on the internet talk about how he's compared to Jesus because he rose from the dead in a similar way and loves wine.
He's their Osiris.
Okay. So this made-up blood thing called Dionysium is in Joker's blood, and apparently, like, that's the secret ingredient in this latest toxin, and that's maybe what's been keeping the Joker immortal forever. What?
And that's why he never really dies. Oh, and I skipped over when like Jim Gordon's talking about like the roof collapse of 1910. There's like a picture of a pale man in that picture, and then when like all the medicines got exchanged for rat poison at that same hospital in 1946, there's the pale man again.
I love all those old photos.
I love that shit so much. I never get over that.
Which it's like. How did that did Joker Photoshop himself into these things? Like, what the hell?
I could see it though. I could see the Joker like buying an Adobe license.
No, he would pirate it. He would pirate it. It's hard to pirate. I'm sure our listeners could figure out a way to pirate Creative Cloud, but it's a lot easier to pirate back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Batman
especially as an immortal.
Yeah. So Batman, he says, boy, this is all too much to take in. I got to go talk to some dudes in masks. And it was
wait. And that's the other thing is Joker is like, hey, Bruce, when he picks up the phone. So he knows.
That's a good cliffhanger. The Joker calling Batman by his first name. That's a good one.
Yeah, he knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne.
Which it didn't even come into play, though.
Yeah, which also to me is another thing where I'm just like, okay, this is not going to be the status quo for very long. Joker has superpowers. Joker knows who Batman is. This is not going to last past this arc.
Well, it did in a way that we'll get to.
Did it? Not really.
We'll get to that.
So is this is the Court of Owls?
Amnesia.
Is this what this is?
Yes. So I think you actually jumped to the end of issue 4. I think you just jumped a whole issue.
I thought we were talking about 4 this whole time. No?
3 and 4 kind of blend together. Yeah. So the Court of Owls is the Illuminati of Gotham. I see now why you were talking about all that stuff. Okay, that makes more sense now. I'm flipping through it.
Oh yeah, sorry, you're right. 3 and 4 did blend together for me. I was talking about both at the same time. That's fine.
That's fine. Because I was talking about Jim Gordon's plot. That's neither here nor there. The Court of Owls is the Illuminati of Gotham. They, are the rich people who, blah 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 blah. But they have their own zombies. They call them the Talons. They're like super powered and they're kind of brain dead. They actually had a spin-off book called Talon, which read a lot like Bucky, Winter Soldier, from the Marvel Universe, by James Tynion IV and Scott Snyder. And that would have been running around this time, which is, one of those like forgotten to time books of like, oh yeah, I read Talon for 20 issues.
So this is the dude that's like that Batman's fighting in the water? Is that who this is?
He's another one of them. He's one of them. There was one Talon.
I like the design on this thing.
Yeah.
The eyes on it especially are just like crazy. It's got like these crow feathers sticking out everywhere. I'm into it. It's very Bloodborne. Reminds me of that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, but
don't
of course
remember why
Batman-
any of this was important though.
Well, 'cause it's-
I
well,
think
'cause
probably
the
to the overall arc.
Well, the cliffhanger to 4 made it seem like Batman was going to actually team up with the Court of Owls to like do something because like it's gotten so bad. I need your help, and that is absolutely not what happened. Like on the next page, it was just like fuck you. We're not helping you. We don't like you. I don't need your help.
All right.
Let's fight.
Meanwhile, while all this is going on, in the last issue, we had seen some shots of Joker scuba diving, which were just like fun and like, what's the Joker doing scuba diving?
He looks good in that little.
He does.
In
It's
his
great.
little like swim jumpsuit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wetsuit.
But it turns out he's scuba diving to the Batcave. Oh no! And of course, Alfred's there to hold him off. And boy, this was a violent moment. Joker, like, takes a knife and just slashes off Alfred's hand. Yeah, his right hand, is that it?
Yeah, because there's a lot of like wordplay in the first half of the scene where he's like, Batman's a right-handed man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wordplay. Apparently, I read that Snyder originally wanted to cut off Alfred's hand in the previous Joker arc, the Death of the Family, and I don't know why it didn't happen. I also don't, Chris. I don't think this status quo survives much longer either.
One-hand Joker.
One-handed Alfred.
I mean, that's what I meant. One-handed Alfred. That does make Penny 2 sound a little more cruel. Like, that's the one with two hands. No good.
That's how you tell them apart.
That's the only way to tell them apart.
I do love. There's some little moments in this scene though. I like that Joker's like looking at like the Red Hood mask, and he's like, "Oh, you kept it. That's so sweet."
Oh, that is nice. Yeah. There's a lot of like This is when it was starting to feel like what is really going on here? It feels like everything is going on all at once because now the Joker is throwing a big parade.
Kind of like Batman
very
1989.
reminiscent, of Jack Nicholson like doing that. It 100% reminded me of that. Like this almost feels like a greatest hits of the Joker, all strung together a little bit too quickly. Like nothing feels 100% fleshed out.
Yeah, it feels like I'm missing something. Like
right.
I'm like, did I? Because it's presented here, and like, were there other chapters that I just missed?
Yeah,
it definitely feels that way. But it didn't overlap with like Detective, and it overlapped a little with like Batgirl for like an issue, but not like 6 issues. It didn't take over all the Bat books.
Yeah.
Especially between 2 and 3, like when he gets sedated and then he's just like back at the cave, you're like, what happened?
Yeah. I will say though that this parade is absolutely my panel of the week.
Yeah.
It's
Joker.
great.
He spray painted the dinosaur from the Batcave with the Joker lips and a white face, and he's standing on it in the middle of the parade. It's amazing. It's amazing.
He's having a good time.
There's battles that happen on it. It's awesome. It's just great.
It definitely reminds me of Paprika. If you've seen that movie.
No, what is that?
It's a great movie by Satoshi Kon, and there's like a parade of madness in that movie, where it's just like there's this dream that crosses over from the dream world into the waking world, and it basically causes people to go insane. And it's like, there's a lot of that sort of vibe going around.
I'll have to check that out.
Man, I want to read a comic about Joker's henchmen who were like the creative art types who had to make these floats. Because like there's some serious work that went into these things. Like I think the Joker more than anybody, he's got a whole secret henchman that like only do this kind of stuff. I don't know.
Those matching leather jackets from Batman 1989 with the Joker logo on it are so awesome.
Yeah.
I saw somebody do cosplaying as that with a boombox at like Comic-Con, and I'm like, that's awesome.
Yep. So there's also this thing going on about how when Batman dies, they will light the bat signal upside down, and that's how everyone knows if Batman is dead, right? Or like
So
the
it's
villains
like
will do that, and
it's like
they'll
a satanic
party.
thing. It
I
seems
don't
very
know.
satanic or weird.
It seems very weird. So Batman gathers the whole Bat family on the roof and shines it upside down, and so all the villains show up. And Batman says, "I need you guys' help. We all have to work together on this one." And I call bullshit on this because I don't know why the villains care.
This is dumb. A lot of this is dumb because like we get like one of the Robins like snarling and I'm like, no, we're not gonna work with you because you guys go from a. But it's not not like a rivalry. Like you've literally are like genocidal maniacs who have like murdered people, including our friends. It's more like we're rival high schools.
Yeah, like, that's what it feels like.
I'm not gonna work with you because y'all cheated basketball.
Yeah, and why are they all free? And also, like, I guess it's the status quo of Bane has changed repeatedly, but it's just like Bane is there with all the villains. Like, it's stupid.
It's very stupid.
He also didn't really need them. They don't seem to factor into the plot at all, other than just being more fodder for the good guys. You know?
It's just fun pictures. I mean,
yeah,
everyone is here. The most epic team up in comic book history. Yeah. I do like that Batman explicitly says like, so yes, it's a bad plan. But if anybody's got a better idea, I'm all ears. But I really like. He's like, yeah, okay, so it's a bad plan. I don't have a plan. This sucks. Like, this is dumb. Like, y'all need to distract the Joker and possibly get murdered, so I can like get some dionysium from his spine, and then that's how we'll get the antidote. Like, it's a real stupid plan.
Yep, yeah. It's a very dumb plan.
Yeah,
but it happens. You know, they go through with it.
But anyway, issue 39, by the way, also has the finale of the subplot of the other storyline, which I just wanted to touch on really quick. That's where the Arkham Asylum doctor, who's been like shepherding these Arkham Asylum patients, kidnapped her. And they've all been telling her these stories about Joker's origins, and they're all like crazy. Like, he's a robot. No, he's like the devil. No, he's like a union buster from 1900. And she's like, no, all of these are just self-serving of your delusions. Like, these don't make any sense. He's actually a very sad, poor orphan. And my friend Eric Border helped me discover this.
Oh, of course. She's got it as well. Oh,
she's like, oh, Eric, here you are. You can explain it to them. And he shows up, the Joker does, and he's just like, oh, yeah, hi. And he's got copies of the book that she wrote based on the story that he told her. He's like, oh, I could tell you wanted to write a book, and I could tell that this was going to be exactly what you needed for my story. And so that's what I helped you do. And so here you go. And so he basically is just like, yep, I just fed you the information you needed, just like I did for these crazy people. Here you go. And here is a gun with a revolver with 5 shots. Gotta go.
All right.
And just leaves her with the other 5 people, the Arkham inmates.
Well, that's a nice Joker. Leave them with a little something before you go. That way they're not empty-handed.
So it's whether she kills herself or whether she just kills the people.
All right. Cool. That sounds pretty good.
It was. I was just like, damn, you knew where it was going, but it was still like, ugh, like, it really, you saw it coming a mile away, but still you're like, oof.
All right, very good. On to issue 6 then. Issue 40, Batman 40. We get this is pretty much almost all this fight between Batman and the Joker down in these, what are they, Lazarus? Is it Lazarus pits?
Well, we start off first with the battle
you're right,
above
you're
ground.
Right.
And on the dinosaur. Dinosaur.
Yes.
You're right. You're right.
But Batman is defeated by Joker, only to reveal... Oh, actually, wait. First, Batman gets a fastball special from Bane. Just want to establish that.
That's why they needed Bane. Okay.
Like,
of course.
This is like where I'm like, this is dumb, and this is like straining the edges of credulity. which I just use big words for no reason because I don't actually know what they mean. But but it's dumb, but I like it. So, and then he's like, I'm not actually Batman though. I'm Dick Grayson. And he's like, actually, this whole ploy was to trick you guys, so Batman could go underground and go do something. So,
yeah, all right. So Batman's underground.
Yeah. Possibly the Lazarus Pit.
Yeah, because Joker like shows a photo of. He's just like, oh, if only you hadn't wasted your time fighting me. Instead, you could have gone to the caves where there's a secret deposit of this, whatever the Dionysium. But instead, you're all going to. Oh, you're not Batman. Uh-oh.
This is where Joker starts feeling really out of character to me, especially a little later on. But
so Joker and Batman have a big underground cave fight. Joker's got some knives. He's going crazy. He's got bladed cards he's throwing. He carves a smiley face onto Batman's back. Batman is getting, like, stabbed up. He gets a damn, like, card blade right in his eye. And he's still going, and I'm like, geez, how's Batman gonna survive that? He's got to be blind in that eye right now. But they have a big old fight, and what happens? Like a stalagmite? Which one is it? Falls from
I don't know.
The top.
Stalagmites might hit the ceiling, and stalactites hold tight to the ceiling. So the ones that are coming down are
stalactites.
Yes.
Okay. Great. That's a good way to remember it. But I don't actually like the mite one very much.
It might reach the ceiling.
I don't like that. Might reach the floor. That works the same way. How am I supposed to remember? That's where I'm back at square one.
It's like the snake where it's like black and yellow kills a fellow, or maybe is a friend to a fellow.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna figure something out with the stalactites. I'm gonna just like holds tight to the ceiling because I think that's more memorable. Anyways, a stalactite falls down and lands on the Joker, and then Batman and Joker are pretty much lying there, dead. Well, not really. They're just like both barely crawling.
And I don't like this because Batman's like, well, we'll actually like test your theory. Maybe you are fucking immortal. And you'll be fine. And Joker's like, no. But like, he seems to like break character, or for this, you know what I'm saying? Like, Joker seems like legit scared, which Joker should not be under any circumstances in my head.
Yeah,
like that
was a little weird, but I don't know. Maybe he just kind of knew like this was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the whole place kind of comes down around them.
And Batman dies.
And dies. Well,
yeah, he actually
does.
It. He does, actually.
Yeah, he actually dies.
It's over. Batman hasn't been well, actually, yeah, Batman wasn't Batman for the next year in the comics.
Oh, how'd he come back?
He came back with amnesia and like tried to help a charity.
Great.
With,
I mean, he's back in the next issue with amnesia, right?
It's like, I think it's like maybe the cliffhanger. Like it didn't stick very well.
All right.
Because I mean, like they die, but they're dead in a cave with immortality drugs all around them.
Yeah, and I think he's with a different Julia, not Alfred's Julia. In that former Julia girlfriend. I want to say Julia Carpenter, but I know that's not right because that's Spider-Woman.
That's Spider-Woman. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I think.
Yeah,
that's probably
that's the one. That's the one. And it's revealed that Jim Gordon is going to be Batman in the next one. But he has to shave his mustache, so then he's just like a redhead dude. But then he like buzzes his head, so he looks military. So like I'm like, why is this Jim Gordon? It has nothing to do with this. And that's when I read like an arc of that or two arcs of that, and I'm like, this sucks. Yeah. I'm out.
Get out of here, Batwoman's dad.
Batwoman's dad.
He did look like Batwoman's dad. But like he had nothing to do with like being Jim Gordon anymore. So it was like super dumb. So I tapped out. I read like 48 issues of Snyder's run and then tapped out for the last 4. I'm like, I'm not reading this.
I could tell just from reading that first issue that it was self-consciously like, this is going to be temporary, and it's just like how Azrael was supposed to be like, oh, you're supposed to miss Bruce. I'm like, yeah, but you can make it not suck. Like, how about that?
All right. I think we got to start wrapping things up on Batman because we still got to get to All-Star Superman. Oh my goodness, we didn't even say we're going to talk about this. Oh no.
So Batman.
Batman Endgame. Like I said, I thought it was fine. It was a very enjoyable story, well told. I do feel it was trying a little too hard to be like all of the Joker all at once, but you know what? That's okay to do sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think if I had read the whole run, I would appreciate it a lot more. Yeah, it was good.
Also, the covers are so goddamn good.
Yeah.
The cover of, I think, the third issue where he's got his face where he's using it as a tragedy mask, like I mentioned, and then the sixth issue where it's Batman as Saint Michael and then Joker as the dragon. Like, God, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That issue 3 cover is the cover of the trade, by the way, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I figured it would be because it's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually also a variant cover for issue 38 by the late great Darwin Cook, which probably would have been like a year before he passed away.
Yeah. Oh, sad. Yeah, that was such I really do love start to finish all the art within, all the covers. It was really great. This was a very enjoyable Batman story to read because it was like fun, even though like between issues those jumps I was like, what, am I missing stuff? But that's okay. Still a good ride.
I think the run was at its strongest in the first 12 issues, and then it kind of tapered off. But yeah, I mean, people talk about the Snyder Capullo run as like one of the like all-time great Batman runs. So I'm glad we got a chance to check it out. And after we read Detective Comics 1000, I was like, I really want to go back and read some Snyder Capullo again. In retrospect, I don't know if this was the best arc, but the artist Capullo did a really great job on it. And it's got some fun moments. It's got that T-Rex with the Joker face.
Yes.
That's some good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty rad.
Great. I might want to read some other Snyder stuff, see how he handles like a different character.
His Swamp Thing, Yannick Paquette's art on that has never been better. Just check out Swamp Thing. It's pretty self-contained. It's only 18 issues, I want to say.
Yeah, that might be fun.
It does not go very long.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else we want to talk about with Endgame before we jump over to All-Star Superman?
No.
No? All right,
I'm
let's do it then.
I would not read any more of it. I'd stop right here. But that's because I've read past it. And I'm not going to.
Yeah. Great. So our next long read that we're going to do, All-Star Superman. This was a 12-issue series that came out in 2005. And
November 05, we decided, right?
Yeah, it ended up running until 2008, kind of a little bit on the slow side, but all 12 issues did make it out eventually. And it's a pretty good one-and-done kind of series. It's not really like, I don't know, would you compare it to the Ultimate Universe? Not really.
It was sold as DC's answer to the Ultimate Universe.
But it very much was its own thing, meant to be more self-contained.
Absolutely, because the Ultimate Universe was like starting from square one, like brand new origins for all of Marvel's classic superheroes. This was probably like 98, 99. And they were like, we're gonna have it very self-contained. We're only gonna have 2 books. We're gonna have X-Men and we're gonna have Spider-Man, and then they expanded out to I think Fantastic Four and the Ultimates are basically the Avengers. And there was so little of it, and by 05, like Marvel called it like the gold standard for comics. Like they would put like gold banners on it. Like they knew the Ultimate Universe was like fucking great. The Ultimates basically like is the spine for Avengers 1. Ultimate Spider-Man is really the spine for like most Spider-Man movies at this point. It's where Miles Morales came out of. I mean, I would say like the Raimi Spider-Man borrows a lot from Ultimate Spider-Man, but
I mean, I would say I'd say that influence is already waned.
Yeah,
sure.
But either way, like DC was like, we want a bit, or at least the marketing was like, we want a bit of that pie, and we're gonna have like a Superman story. But they didn't do like straight just origins of Superman from the beginning, which is what I thought I was gonna get with All-Star Superman. Instead, it's just really good classic Superman stories from Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely.
Yeah, so Grant Morrison, we've definitely talked about on the show at some point. One of my favorites, kind of a very bizarre, out there, and just writes in a style that I think not a lot of other comic book writers do.
We covered his Doom Patrol and his JLA. He had a big run on Batman around this time. He had Seven Soldiers.
Yeah,
New
I've never been
X-Men.
too big on his more like his JLA or his Batman-y kind of stuff, but although like more anytime he has a little bit more freedom, I just love what he does with it. And because this is kind of like a fresh slate with Superman, he just kind of has fun with the character. It feels simultaneously like brand new and old-timey at the same time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is also Frank Quitely's art. But I'm just in love with this thing. Had we all read these before?
I have. I did not like it when I read it, but it's because I think we stated last time that I didn't think I knew what Morrison was going for. I mean, I was expecting Ultimate Universe, but for DC. That's honestly what I came in.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. And this is really not that. It's,
no, it's not.
No. Chris, did you read these before?
I have.
Yeah.
I like them. I like them. I will say I do think Grant Morrison owes a lot on All-Star Superman to Alan Moore's Supreme. We did do Supreme. I think at least some of his story of the year and that stuff.
We did all of it.
And I think All-Stars. I think All-Star Superman owes a lot to a lot of that stuff.
Totally fair. That's totally fair.
It feels like I mean, I haven't actually read Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, or what do you get for the Man Who Has Everything? But I've seen the cartoon of it, and this feels like that.
Okay. Yeah. I can get behind that. Should we just jump into the first issue here?
Sure.
Let's do it. We get kind of like a very like quick version of Superman's origin. What is it? Doomed planet, desperate scientists, last hope, kindly couple. Just like, all right, great. That's all you really need.
I mean, everybody knows who Superman is. Like, you don't really have to do an Ultimate Universe of him. You really don't.
Yeah. And then like a big old splash of him flying through the sun. There's like a manned space mission to the sun that this crazy scientist is doing. What's this guy's name? Leo Quantum? Is that his name?
Yeah, something like that.
He's, just a kooky out there scientist. I don't know if he actually exists in the DC universe. I'm not familiar with him.
I'm sure he does.
Probably, sure. But he is setting out to map the sun and like take a piece of the sun back. But
I mean, yeah, and this is probably what I wasn't ready for, is that this book is going to tread very heavily into like 50s, 60s idea of sci-fi of just like bullshit. Like, we can't fly to the sun and we're not going to take a piece of it home. Like, that's stupid. Like, that's just not going to work that way. Right. But this is of that time.
Yeah. Of course it's not going to work. It's great. But there is a like mutant traitor aboard their little ship that Lex Luthor has planted there. Like this guy like grows all crazy and monstrous, and he's like, I'm going to get you. So of course Superman has to get out there to save this manned space mission. Who the head scientist is also on. Like this guy just does it all. It's great. It's very 50s, right? Mm-hmm. So all the while, Lex Luthor's relationship with the public is kind of weird. Like this is kind of after he's gone to jail and has gotten out, and he's trying to rehabilitate.
I mean, this is a side universe, but that's what we're led to believe.
Right. That kind of general time frame for Lex Luthor. And he has obsessed himself with the idea of actually killing Superman now. So he's stuck in a basement, hooked up to all.
I love the lines here, by the way. Those are it was so cool. He's like, I just realized that he's not getting any older, and I am. So if I want to see him dead, I like have to do it.
Yeah, I got to get to work.
That's so this cool. So cool.
This is Lex Luthor Endgame, right? He's like going for it. So whenever, like, of course, Superman saves this mission, gets back, he's doing all these tests with this quantum guy, like, oh my god, you've gotten even stronger, like you're being close to the sun, it's like starting to develop these new powers for you, which is like great, of course. What a fun way to just have some other fun with Superman, do some crazy stuff. But also being so close to the sun has overloaded his regenerative cells, and it's gonna kill him. Oh no.
He overcharged his battery.
Yeah, and this was Lex Luthor's plan all along. I think that's like the cliffhanger. Not exactly, but that was Lex Luthor's plan all along. Make sure Superman has to fly super close to the sun and see what happens.
Well, yeah, like he's either gonna die or get overcharged, or nothing will happen, and we'll be back to square one. Like, as far as the plan goes, I think it's pretty solid on Luthor's part.
Yeah, I think so. Also, this Leo Quantum guy has been like cloning Superman, or like using his DNA to build other robots and androids and all sorts of stuff, so that like in the untimely moment of Superman's death, they'll at least have some other power to go along with it. Superman seems oddly cool with this.
This Superman is very just chill. He doesn't seem to be bothered by many things.
Oh yeah,
which is sometimes hard to relate to, like as a character, but that's not what the story's going for.
Right. So then we also get a little shot of Clark Kent making it to work. He's late for a meeting, and it's great. Like you see him. You don't actually see him save somebody. You just see somebody in trouble, like about to get hit by a car, chasing a dog. And later you see that kid's okay, like after we've already seen Clark doing all his bumbling stuff, which it's just a great way to show that speed. I think it's a good... I don't know. What were you going to say, Vince?
I really love this Clark Kent, and I know that the comics writing and community of the time really liked how Quietly drew Superman. Because Superman's like a big, bulky, muscular dude, and so Clark has the same build as him, but the way he wears his clothes, and they're kind of like ill-fitting, so he looks just kind of like a pudgy guy, like a pudgy middle-aged guy. It's really good effect.
Yeah, and he's like literally tripping, falling down on the ground. There's that great panel of him just like throwing that can up and all that stuff, and makes it to the meeting finally. While Lex Luthor gets arrested because it's like come out that he lied about everything and all that. Government trusted him. Like, oh shit, what did you trust this thing? All right, take him to jail. And the very end of this issue is Clark Kent is kind of helping Lois Lane with some groceries, getting home, and he's acting like his bumbling self, all that. But right when they get to her doorstep, he like reveals the S on his chest, and she drops the groceries. So yeah, not really sure where this is going, but I'm into it. It's like as soon as we see that bumbling Clark Kent, it's like, oh, okay, it makes sense that nobody would compare them in this universe. And then bam, all right, cool. Letting the
Yeah, I do really like that Quietly is able to show in the art that, how it's not obvious that just by like slouching and, body language and whatever else, that it's like, yeah, you can sort of buy it. And that he's just like, no, he's not Superman. And then like suddenly he is.
Yeah. It's so good. I really love this. I love Morrison's writing and I love Quietly's art. I'm really excited to read through all these again. I don't remember anything about it.
I don't remember. I remember just a few little things of it. The book that I've always wanted us to read is just like a selection of like Super Dickory comics, like where Superman just like shows up like it's superdickory.com, I think is the website, where Superman's just like a dick on the cover. Is like, now I'll make you fight for me because I'm the king of this planet. And you're like, what the fuck is Superman doing? I got to read this book. Where they started with a weird cover and then went from there. And they're all like done in one weird Superman issues. And I've been wanting to do that for a long time for this show, but we haven't. And I think that this is going to give me that fix.
And
it's like a weird like 50s, 60s sci-fi idea of sci-fi that's obviously not like based in reality, real science fact at all, and I'm excited for it. I think the robots come into play and some other things.
Of course, robots come into play.
That reminds me, I was at a con, 2 weekends ago, Vince, and I definitely bought an issue of Lois Lane, where on the cover, Superman, Lois is like, Superman, don't do this to me, and Superman is like, that's right, Judge. Lois Lane is a violent criminal, and she must go to jail for life.
Aw, Superman, what a super dick. All right. Well, this was fun. Anything else to say about the All-Star Super Dick?
It's going to be fun. And then we'll have to probably catch up with the cartoon, which I know is on DC Universe, and probably some of your services. I don't know how they did the whole book in like 90 minutes, 70 minutes.
Well,
I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll find out.
All right. So next time on the show, we're going read All-Star Superman #2, and our main read for the week will be The Dark Phoenix Saga. There's a movie of that coming out soon, I believe, Batman: The Dark Phoenix Saga, and it is.
I believe it's
did
called.
I get that right?
I believe
No?
it's Green Lantern: Dark Phoenix.
Oh, I'm sorry. So this was from 1980. In Uncanny X-Men 129 through 138. But those were some dense issues back then. We're going to split it up. We're going to do 129 to 132 next time, just sort of the first 4 issues of the Dark Phoenix Saga. Then we'll save the last 4 for the time after that. So we're splitting it up. It's a two-parter.
Sounds like that's what
Dark
we're doing
Phoenix
a lot
Saga.
now, right? We're doing 2
Well,
parts
you know,
and then
we've
1
read
part.
a lot of the stuff. We've read a lot of the stuff that we can fit into, like, 1 episode. As we sort of delve deep, we want to make sure we're spending time on these things. The demanding listeners are wanting to make sure that we spend enough time on the topics at hand. So this will make sure that we can do so.
I don't think we've read much. I mean, we've jumped in and out of Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah,
we really haven't read
much.
much.
Yeah, I've always liked that era of Chris Claremont. It's sad because I read his more recent stuff first, like from the mid-2000s, which was not good. But yeah, his older stuff that we've read has always been fantastic. So I'm excited to get into something a little bit longer with him. So this is Sansa Stark presents Game of Thrones Dark Phoenix Saga 1980 Uncanny X-Men 129 through 132. We'll read that next time. And yeah, I think that's all we got. Chris, what's going on with your stupid minds?
Well, we are trying to get back onto a somewhat regular schedule. We just did an episode about North, the child who declares free agency from his parents, which was a lot of fun to talk about. Not a lot of fun to watch. If you've ever seen it, Elijah Wood and a great cast is wasted in that movie.
I remember liking that movie.
Oh, you did?
Was 12.
It was funny because the host Nick was like, I was the target audience. Who's the target audience for North? Because I was like 10 at the time, and I was not interested in watching. Like I was fucking there. I watched North a lot of times because I was into Huck Finn. That was one of my favorite movies. Was Huck Finn with Elijah Wood. So I was there, ready for North day one.
All
I
right.
mean, I liked Huck Finn fine, but I never saw North.
Yeah, I definitely saw North. Yeah, it's probably not very good.
But yeah, it's not a good movie. It's pretty racist.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, there's some problems with it, and we're gonna have some more racism on the menu in our next movie. So tune in for more. As we go to the 1980s, where there might be some racist stuff.
Great, love that racism. I can't wait to hear it. All right. So, Vince, what's going on with you?
Just playing video games. Back into Dragon Quest Builders. You know how it goes.
Yeah, of course I do.
Oh, actually, I've been watching Marvel Rising on. It's on YouTube, on Disney On Demand. It's a cartoon with Squirrel Girl and Kamala Khan. It's awesome.
That sounds wonderful.
It's got an hour and a half long. It's got an hour and a half long movie. The whole movie's for free on YouTube at Marvel HQ. Check it out.
Great. Marvel Rising. I'm on it. Great. Well, thank you, Vince. Thank you, Chris. And I was Kia. Thank you, Kia. You're welcome, Kia. Thank you so much, listeners. I love you. Vince loves you, and Chris loves you. I'm going to speak for them, and we will we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks.